seated. Welcome, everyone. We are gathered here today to celebrate the love between Rachel and Joe and witness as they exchange vows and join together in the bond of marriage. Rachel and Joe, along with their families, are very honored that you have chosen to spend this special day with them. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Ryan, and I will be leading the ceremony today. And I want to start by reading something that I wrote a long, long time ago for a 5th grade writing assignment. I have it right here. The purpose of this assignment was to describe the best day of my life. And here's an excerpt of what I wrote. My dad called to say I had a new baby sister. We went over to my grandma and grandpa's house. I couldn't wait to see my new sister. That night we visited the hospital. I wore my big brother pin. That's when I found out her name was Rachel Nicole Lang. I peeked in the window to see her. She was so adorable. I was so happy to have a new sister, and such a beautiful one, too. It's been such a blessing having Rachel as a sister. She has been by my side for nearly my entire life. And because of that, we share a deep bond that we have with no one else. As adults, we moved on to different lives in different places, but we will still always have each other to call and talk about life with, to visit and go on adventures with, to laugh with, and to cry with. Rachel has so much energy and zest for life. She loves to travel, and she does it to the fullest, always searching for the best barbecue joint in the city or the oldest diner in the state. When she's home, she's still constantly looking for something fun to do, whether it's a concert, a local fest, meaning festival, or a really nice patio to drink on. She's become a bit of a foodie, but her go-to is still a hard taco minus lettuce plus tomato from Taco Bell. Now, sometimes she gets a bit intense. She might make you eat outdoors in the middle of winter. She has craving for White Castle at inconvenient times. And if you've got a cold or something, well, I'd stay away from her, because if you're lucky, she'll just try to find a surgical mask to wear around you. If you're not, she'll tell you quite clearly that she can't afford to be sick because her busy lifestyle won't allow it. But it's just that Rachel's a very passionate person, and passionate people tend to overreact at times. But on the upside, with this passion comes great spirit and individuality. And that's what we love most about Rachel. Now, one passion that has defined Rachel since she was young is her love for, or rather obsession with, weddings. As a child, she got this game here called Perfect Wedding. The goal of the game is to gather all the components to a perfect wedding: the dress, the rings, the cake, the reception venue. Rachel played this game over and over as a kid, and even as an adult, when she brought some college friends over to introduce them to it. She even played it again last night with her bridesmaids. Her favorite movie is Father of the Bride with Steve Martin, and many years ago she asked her dad to buy a Precious Moment figurine called Always and Forever Daddy's Little Girl, depicting a father-bride dance, in anticipation that he could give it to her as a wedding gift someday down the road. She's watched Say Yes to the Dress so many times that even I started to know the staff at Kleinfeld Bridal by heart. Of course, she's also attended many weddings, and after each one, she would analyze it in detail. What was beautiful, what was fun, and what she wanted her perfect wedding to be like someday. The only problem, of course, was finding someone to marry. Rachel dated people over the years, but none of them were the one. Sometimes she'd worry that she would never find that person and have the day she dreamed of. Luckily, she listened to some very wise people, Mr. Steve Perry and his band, and she did not stop believing, because on March 11th, 2014, she finally met Joe. Now, they had connected on OkCupid, but on that day, she was so worn out from work that she just wanted to cancel the date, go home, and watch soap operas in her pajamas. Luckily, she didn't do that, and the two of them hit it off right away. On April 27th, they officially became a couple. One day later, someone posted an article to Rachel's Facebook entitled, 23 Incredible Reasons Taco Bell is Better Than Having a Significant Other. Rachel replied, I have a significant other now, though, and he lets me eat all the TB I want, so it's the best of both worlds. Sounds like it was going pretty well already. But actually, right away, I could tell that something was different about this one. I drove Rachel from Chicago to Detroit that May, and all the way home, all I heard about was Joe. I heard about how well they got along. I heard about all the things she loved about him, how he kept telling her how lucky he was to have found her, and how they were going to get married. It seemed a little sudden to me at the time, but I guess that deep down, they already just knew. Joe has always had strong relationships with his own family, his parents, his sisters, and especially his nieces and nephews, who totally idolize him. So it's no surprise that he got along with my family for the first moment that we met him. My grandma loved him just because of his name. My grandpa went by Joe, and she was thrilled at the possibility of another Joe in the family. My aunt famously grilled him with 1,000 questions, but he passed with flying colors. My mom was so confident in the relationship that she bought centerpieces for the shower 6 months after they started dating. As for me, I could tell right away that Joe was a stand-up guy who was good for my sister and that he simply adored her. In the next 2 years, I was lucky to spend a lot of time with Joe as the three of us drove back and forth between Chicago and Detroit, stopping in Valparaiso, Indiana at our favorite Taco Bell, singing along to Africa by Toto, and getting to know each other through lots of conversations. Well, actually, I have to say that Joe was a little quiet at first. Actually, Joe is just a little bit quiet, at least compared to our family. But who isn't? We are intense. Rachel may overreact at times, but she comes from a long line of major overreactors. And Joe is, for the most part, calm, stable, relaxed. Unless, of course, he's watching the Tigers, the Lions, or the Wolverines. As a loyal fan since childhood, he follows the teams through good times and bad and can get pretty intense around them. And in those moments, he fits in very well with my dad. Another good sign. But in any case, as the years went gone by, Joe has become more and more comfortable around our crazy family, and we've seen beneath his quiet exterior to discover the goofy and hilarious side that Rachel saw from day one. We have grown to love him as one of our own. In fact, it's hard to even imagine a time when Joe wasn't part of our lives. In May of 2016, Joe came to Michigan on a secret trip to purchase an engagement ring. But first, he showed up at my parents' front door bright and early to ask my dad for his blessing. My dad was surprised but delighted to grant Joe his blessing and share a glass of Stella Artois with him. I found out about this when the ring came in that August, and I had the honor of transporting it from Detroit back to Joe in Chicago, while Rachel was none the wiser. Fearful of something happening to it, I only stopped once on the way at our favorite Taco Bell. Seemed appropriate. And then October 27th, 2016, at a romantic cabin in Indiana, Joe asked Rachel to be his wife. If you've been paying attention, you might notice that this date was exactly 2.5 years after they started officially dating, and exactly 2 years before the wedding here today. This wasn't planned. Oddly enough, this wedding was originally planned for the spring until a scheduling snafu forced them to reschedule to today. It's almost like it was destiny. One of Joe's favorite songs is Shut Up and Dance by Walk the Moon, and one of the lyrics of that song is, "This woman is my destiny." And it does seem like Rachel and Joe were destined to meet and fall in love. They both grew up in the suburbs of Detroit, they both went to the University of Michigan, and they even went to the same bars in Chicago. OkCupid may have put them together, but it seems like the universe was pushing them that way anyway. They are a perfect match for each other. Rachel may be passionate to a fault at times, but Joe knows how to calm her down and get her to relax at her most stressful moments, and he feeds off her infectious energy. They have lots of fun together. They've traveled all over the world, to New Orleans, to Denver, to Australia, to Ireland. They hit up all the Chicago fests and drink on all the Pats, though Taco Bell is still their favorite, enough so that they had some of their engagement photos there, and they were featured on 2 different websites. They never stop thinking about each other, even when they are apart. They talk as much as they can during the day at work, and when Joe leaves, every single day, he sends Rachel a sign-off telling her how much he loves her and how excited he is for their next adventure. When Rachel was attending a recent Journey concert, which if you know Rachel is basically a sacred experience for her, her first inclination was to call Joe and tear up with excitement about marrying him. A few months ago when Rachel was staying at her parents' place and Joe at his, he told her, "I always miss you when we're not sleeping in the same place." And when they are separated like this, it doesn't take long before on our end we start to hear a constant refrain of, "I miss Joe." They take care of each other. When Rachel's had a bad week, Joe surprises her with flowers, candy, wine, or all of the above. When Joe's having a bad time, he can go read one of the "Things I Love About You" that Rachel wrote on popsicle sticks one Christmas. When Rachel had very serious back pain, Joe had to help her do everything. As Rachel herself said, "Joe probably didn't think he was signing on for pushing me in a wheelchair this soon after engagement." But it goes both ways. When Joe gets sick, Rachel takes great care of him too. For some reason, when it's Joe, there are no surgical masks or no worries that she'll catch his illness and screw up her life. But more than anything, they are building roots. Not every night is a party or special occasion. They cook together, they watch TV together, they do their own thing every once in a while, but always come home to each other. They are building a future together as one instead of two. and I've never seen my sister so happy and so content. So Joe, thank you for this. I'm thrilled that you are joining our family. I'm so excited to be getting a new brother, and that it's you. My mom and dad are also delighted, as are my grandma, aunts, uncles, and cousins. And I know that Gamp, and Grandpa Lang, who aren't here with us anymore, would have been so happy for the two of you today. Ray, as beautiful as you looked to me when you were born, you never look more beautiful than you look today. And you've got exactly what you wanted. A romantic proposal, a stunning ring, a trip to Kleinfeld's with your mom and one of your best friends, the perfect dress with father of the bride shoes, a fun bachelorette party, a fantastic shower, a beautiful venue, even a string quartet, and thousands or hundreds of people, it seems like thousands, of people here who love you. Both of you, this is the best day of your lives. But it's not actually because of all those things I just listed, all the trappings of a wedding that can be found on cards in a kid's board game. It's actually because each of you has found the other. Your love, your person, your lobster, your spole, your fave human, your partner for life. To share all the trips, talks, struggles, and everyday routines that life will give you. And that's what makes this the best day of your lives and the perfect wedding. Joe's sister, Kate, will now read an Irish blessing. Rachel and Joe chose this reading because Ireland is a special place to them after they traveled there together.
May your mornings bring you joy and your evenings bring you peace. May your troubles grow few as your blessings increase. May the saddest day of your future be no worse than the happiest day of your past. And may your hands be forever clasped in friendship and your hearts joined forever in love. Your lives are very special. God has touched you in many ways. May his blessings rest upon you and fill all your coming days.
Joe's sister Julie will now read a passage from Corelli's Mandolin. Rachel and Joe chose this passage because they felt it represents the depth of their love.
Love is a temporary madness. It erupts like an earthquake and then subsides. And when it subsides, you have to make a decision. You have to work out whether your roots have become so entwined together that it is inconceivable that you should ever part, because this is what love is. Love is not breathlessness. It is not excitement. It is not the promulgation of promises of eternal passion. That is just being in love, which any of us can conceive ourselves we are. Love itself is what's left over when being in love has burned away, and this is both an art and a fortunate accident. Those that truly love have roots that grow towards each other underground, and when all the pretty blossom have fallen from their branches, that they find that they are one tree and not two.
Now Rachel and Joe have prepared a few words to say to each other.
Joe, from the very beginning of our relationship, we have had a level of comfort that I have never known before, to the point where I originally thought it almost seemed too easy. But really, that's what real, long-lasting love should elicit, feelings of contentment and peace, not of uncertainty and insecurity. The reason I love the mandolin reading so much is because it reminded me of how deep our love goes. Beyond that initial thrill of getting to know each other, and beyond the excitement of big trips and elaborate displays of affection. Of course, I have loved all of our amazing travels and our fancy date nights, but I love the little things just as much, if not more. Eating Chinese food on Friday nights, belting out songs on drives back to Michigan, slow dancing in the living room, and watching Michigan football games, even if you do pace the whole time and refuse to talk to anyone. We always talk about our little moments, and these moments together have made the last 4 years the best of my life. Even the most mundane things are fun when I'm doing them with you. I couldn't ask for a more caring, selfless, loving partner. Thank you for always supporting me, even when you had to literally help me walk after I hurt my back. Thank you for patiently listening to me vent and making me laugh when I have a bad day, and for calming me down when I'm freaking out, which is often. I will always remember driving up to Red Rocks for the James Taylor concert while it was storming, and I was convinced the night would be ruined. You kept telling me it was going to pass and everything would be okay. Lo and behold, as soon as we pulled into the parking lot, the clouds cleared and a rainbow came out. You're always able to see the good in every situation and believe that things will work out in the end, and that's one of my favorite things about you. There are so many things I love about you, Joe, and if I made you another gift listing them, there wouldn't be enough popsicle sticks in the world. I am so happy, and I can't wait to spend the rest of my life making new little moments with you.
Oh, jeez. Rachel, words cannot describe how I feel about you. From that very first date at Dry Hop, I knew there was going to be something special about you in my life. Did I know that it would lead to this day? Not a chance, but the hope was there. It's been a crazy journey with plenty of adventures along the way, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for both of us. In writing these vows, I've been able to reflect on all the things I love about you and how important you've become in my life. I never imagined I would love someone as much and as deeply as I love you. I love how when you're angry, I can take a second to just spin you a few times and the anger washes away, even for just a minute. I love you so much, and when you're trying not to laugh, when I'm being goofy, but no matter what, I always get you to crack a smile and try to chuckle a little bit. I love how so many little things excite you. A big day like today can be overwhelming and stressful, but a quiet night can make you light up like Christmas morning, especially if it's with Chinese food and scary movies. And yes, I will watch scary movies with you, but I reserve the right to always complain. I love how we just have just as much fun on those quiet nights as we do going to fancy dinners and judging all the other people there. I love being the person you ask what you should do for basically any decision ever, and I promise to always be there to make the decision so you can go back and realize what you truly want to do. I know you'll always take care of me if I need it, and I'll always be there for whenever anything goes wrong. How's the back feeling right now? Okay. This has been a crazy day so far, and I can't imagine what I'm going to see on the dance floor later with everyone. But it's also been perfect because we're together. And no matter what happens in life, I know we'll be able to face it because we will be together. I know there will be some tough times, and we'll probably have some arguments that we'll probably look back on and be confused why we even argued about that. But I always love you and always be there to make sure that we do not go to bed angry or without saying I love you. And good night. I promise to always tell you how much I love you and more importantly show you for the rest of my life. And to throw it back to our engagement, I love you, Rachel Nicole Lang, and I always will.
Please take each other's hands. Rachel, please repeat after me. I, Rachel, take you, Joe, to be my husband.
I, Rachel, take you, Joe, to be my husband.
I promise to be true to you in good times and in bad,
I promise to be true to you in good times and in bad,
in sickness and in health.
in sickness and in health.
I will love you and honor you all the days of my life.
I will love you and honor you all the days of my life.
Joe, please repeat after me. I, Joe, take you, Rachel, to be my wife.
I, Joe, take you, Rachel, to be my wife.
I promise to be true to you in good times and in bad,
I promise to be true to you in good times and in bad,
in sickness and in health.
in sickness and in health.
I will love you and honor you all the days of my life.
I will love you and honor you all the days of my life.
May I please have the rings? A ring is a fitting symbol for a wedding promise. It is a circle with no beginning and no end. Love without end is what we hope to achieve in marriage. As this ring is placed upon your finger, remember that it is your love for one another that has brought you here, and it is that love that will guide you down the pathways of your future. Rachel, repeat after me. Joe, I give you this ring as a symbol of the vows we shared today.
Joe, I give you this ring as a symbol of the vows we shared today.
But when you need to know the depth of my love for you,
When you need to know the depth of my love for you,
look not to the ring, but into my heart.
look not to the ring, but into my heart.
Joe, repeat after me. Rachel, I give you this ring as a symbol of the vows we shared today.
Rachel, I give you this ring as a symbol of the vows we shared today.
But when you need to know the depth of my love for you,
But when you need to know the depth of my love for you,
look not to the ring,
look not to the ring,
but into my heart.
but into my heart.
And now it is my honor to pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you for the first time Mr. and Mrs. Joe and Rachel Kronk.